Today on the news and why it matters, an impeachment inquiry on the horizon. Also, Bernie Sanders unveils his massive wealth tax. He doesn't think that billionaires should exist. Also, Joe Biden doesn't really want to make the case for himself being elected president. Got a lot coming up. Starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by an all-star panel. We've got social media guru in the house, Jason Howerton. Jason, you just had some Sheila Jackson Lee gold go viral on Twitter. So I encourage everyone to go check out Jason Howerton's Twitter.
At Jason_Howerton. I like the plug. I like it.
You're welcome. I do what I can. We've got YouTube host Eric July, jack of all trades, back with us. Go Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate that.
All day long.
You must have found out that I'm a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, no, they said this was allowed. So that's how
absolutely. And Lathan Watts, Director of Communications for First Liberty. Thank you for being back with us.
Thanks for having me back.
Got a lot to get into, but first we want to thank our sponsor, American Financing. So maybe you are looking to buy a new home. Maybe you are looking to refinance because you've got like this terrible ex who you need to get off of your home mortgage. I don't know. I'm not trying to judge your life. All I'm saying is American Financing is your go-to when it comes to any sort of loan, finance, mortgage, whatever the case may be. They've got salary-based professionals. They are not commission-based. So they're not looking for, hey, what's going to be, what's going to give me the biggest kickback from the financial institution. That's not what it's about for them. It truly is about putting you in the right position, in the right situation for your particular family, for your home, for whatever situation you're in. American Financing, they're the ones to go to. I know they talked with Glenn before the crash of 2008, and they said, hey, we really want to do advertising with you. And he was like, yeah, okay, I don't trust any of you guys. Come talk to me after the crash. And then they did, and they were like, hey, hello, we're fine because we do business the right way. That is when we started working with them, and it's been nonstop ever since. You got to go to AmericanFinancing.net, or you can call 800-906-2440. Get you your refi, your home loan, purchase, whatever the case may be, AmericanFinancing.net. So as of the time of this taping, I know Nancy Pelosi is scheduled as of the time of this taping to speak. She is expected to say that she is on board with a formal impeachment inquiry. This is, of course, all stemming from the probe of President Donald Trump when it comes to putting pressure on Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden. Now, the rumor, of course, is that President Trump threatened and withheld financial aid to Ukraine in exchange for, putting pressure on them to investigate Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all of their dealings in the Ukraine. This is allegedly a whistleblower who came forward. But there hasn't really been any sort of evidence, any sort of concrete information put forth to prove that this, in fact, happened. And here are the president's comments about this today.
So here's the story, very simply. We're watching Venezuela very closely. As far as withholding funds, those funds were paid. They were fully paid. But my complaint has always been, and I'd withhold again, and I'll continue to withhold until such time as Europe and other nations contribute to Ukraine, because they're not doing it. It's the United States. We're putting up the bulk of the money. And I'm asking, why is that?
So the president said, yeah, I did withhold it, but I didn't withhold it because I was putting pressure on them to investigate anyone. I withheld it because I don't think it's fair that the United States pays way more than any of the European nations. And that money was actually fully paid. He didn't withhold it and not pay it. Jason, your thoughts on now the latest revelations that Nancy Pelosi finally, after what, a year of pushing her and pushing her and pushing her to go for impeachment, she now says that she supports a formal impeachment inquiry.
Well, she's a hostage in her own party, so she doesn't really have a choice. I don't think. She's got a party that's being run by far left extremists beyond anything I thought possible, so this is the logical next step. The issue is they clearly don't have anything because they wouldn't be trotting it out this far out of the election cycle. You got to get all the way to November And even if they found something explosive, maybe not impeachable, I don't think they would, but if they found something good now, it fades away long before the election. So to me, it's like this is the beginning of the dog and pony show where we're going to see the hearings, we're going to see the sound bites and everything else to kind of drum up. Both sides are going to drum up their bases, and I don't think we're going to get anywhere. The only thing I'm interested in is actually hearing from the whistleblower if he or she is actually going to testify, which there's some rumors of that. I don't know who this person is or whatever, but supposedly this person has reached out, wants to talk to Congress. That will be a little revealing, but at the end of the day, people, the issue is evidence. There's never evidence. We need evidence at some point. Like, we've had a million of these bombshell reports that we're going to take. This is the one that's going to take them down. Can they produce the evidence? If not, it doesn't really matter. We don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, it seems like, Eric, they've been calling for impeachment this entire time. They've been calling for impeachment before the Russia investigation was even concluded, in which there was no evidence to prove collusion. And impeachment has been yelled at us, has been screamed at us this entire time. Why are we to believe that this is anything different?
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would just go ahead and get it over with. You know, we've been talking about it for I don't know how long. Hey, impeachment is coming. He's done this impeachable offense time and time again. I was like, let's make it spicy, man. Let's go ahead and
get in the ring, right?
That's right. Let's get
the gloves on.
Let's get this going. But to your point, that's what's taking place is that we're seeing, and this is why I've been telling people to pay attention to the AOCs of the world, because all it does is pushing the party further and further to sort of not only their rhetoric, but what they personally advocate, right? So no matter if you have, I'm not saying that she's rational by any means, but the more rational or moderate, let's say, Democrats, they're going to be forced to adopt
Let's
these
think about
positions.
that. Pelosi is now
the rational one.
the rational
That's
one.
Right,
terrifying.
right. That is absolutely 100% terrifying, but that just goes to show that these guys are absolutely making moves in terms of where they are pushing the party. The thing that I take the most from it, though, is the fact that we're talking and we're all bent out of shape about giving money to, foreign countries, and I obviously, as a libertarian in me, I have an issue with that.
You brought this up. I'm like, there's Eric July, the libertarian, coming out.
You already know the fact that we're like, well, why didn't we give? Why did he withhold money? Why are we giving? Like, wait a minute, what are we giving money to them for in the first place? But seriously, I think that's the thing that we focus on, because it doesn't stop there. They are going to continue. Certainly, we see it from an economic standpoint when it comes to the things that they're advocates of. Now, Democrats are just full-blown people that you never would have thought would adopt socialism just openly in terms of the policies that they endorse. They're pushing them further and further, and this is why I've been telling people, like, yeah, we can brush it off all day because AOC and what's the squad or whatever they're calling them, they might say things, and you're like, man, nobody's paying attention. And I'm like, yes, they are paying attention to them, and they're pushing them further and further into positions that they might not personally hold, but they know politically they have to adopt or at least pay lip service to it if they are going to remain relevant in their party.
Yeah.
They're leading the party, it's just like you said. The impeachment parade is on its way down the street, and this is Pelosi trying to jump out in front of it and act like she's leading it, because she is not. The AOCs of the world, the squad, whatever you want to call them, they are driving the party's agenda. Now, she's doing her best to have it both ways by saying, I'm supporting an inquiry, and then if the inquiry turns up enough evidence, then we can start impeachment, because she is politically smart enough to know that it's a mistake. But she's trying to appease these folks that are running her party right now and still look like she is in control somehow.
Real quick point, but just think about how much politics have changed in that AOC.
One election cycle.
One election cycle, and the AOCs of Congress are now running policy from Twitter, Instagram, by doing live streams. They're pushing policy forward, possibly to the point of getting these impeachment proceedings or whatever you want to call it rolled out. To me, that's a big change in the way we kind of conduct business in Congress.
Yeah, it is interesting as well that, when you think about what Trump is being accused of, and you think about the Joe Biden scandal with Hunter Biden. Of course, Joe Biden was accused of putting pressure on Ukrainian officials to get rid of the prosecutor who was looking into a Hunter Biden scandal in the Ukraine. Putting pressure seems to be kind of the same story. Trump's getting hit for it. The mainstream media is not covering the fact that hello, this all stems from a Joe Biden scandal in the first place. It's all about Trump.
And to your point earlier, let's say that the call transcript, which I think Trump said now he's going to release the transcript, but let's say it says exactly what they accuse him of. They still have to prove that this is a crime, what he did, for it to be an impeachable offense by the standard of the Constitution. For him to be removed, it has to be a high crime or misdemeanor committed while in office. And then there'll be a trial in the Senate. Even if he did what they claim that he did, I don't know that it rises to the level of an impeachable offense. If he called this guy and said, look, there's corruption going on in your government, you should probably do something about it. I think government leaders probably talk to each other like that pretty frankly on a lot of occasions, especially if they are, assuming that it's a private conversation.
Even if, so let me ask you as an attorney, even if, let's say Donald Trump, we know how Donald Trump talks, right? He just keeps going. It just keeps coming out of his mouth. So what would be the level to make it a crime? Because I could see Donald Trump being like, look, I mean, I don't know where you're going to get your money.
I'd clean it up if it was my government.
Yeah, like,
that's
I mean,
me.
I'm just saying, we give you guys a lot of money. Yeah. If I were you, I'd probably want to look into this. I mean, where would it be that it would reach the level of a crime? Because in the end, he ended up releasing this money and paying them what we were already slated to give them in foreign aid. So I mean, I get that there has to be a quid pro quo there, but what would be the level?
Right, but a quid pro quo for what?
Right.
I mean, people use foreign aid as leverage all the time. I mean, that's kind of the point of it. Exactly. Right. It would depend on what it is that he's saying. What is the quid pro quo? Like, I'll release this money if what? You look into this, or is it you come up with evidence against this that's going to crush Biden's presidential campaign?
Yeah.
If you're talking about that could be maybe seen as kind of trying to court foreign influence into an election. Maybe. Yeah. The question still remains: has he committed a crime?
Right.
Is there because that's what the Constitution says: high crimes or misdemeanors. A lot of it's going to depend on what he was, if he was in fact asking for something. What was he asking for? Okay. Or was it just as you said? Hey, look, if this was me and there's corruption in my government, I would do something about it.
Right. Right. Eric, how is this different from, I don't know, Barack Obama leaning over to a Russian government official and saying, I'll have more flexibility after the election, or Hillary Clinton gathering intel, providing that wonderful Trump dossier, which led to all of the nonsense that we had to deal with the last 3 years?
Well, it's not any different, but I think that's the nature of politics. Certainly the nature of when you're dealing with government officials, it's not do as I say, and they'll always turn a blind eye to if it's their guys that are doing it. So it really depends, and to be fair, individuals on the other side do it as well, in that we zero in on what it is that the opposing party is doing, instead of actually legitimately looking at it objectively and saying, hey, there's something done, this was wrong, this is why. It's more like, okay, I can bring this individual down, or I can bring these groups of people down, and they are in opposition of me. So it's never really different, but I think that goes to show just where we're at with government. That's sort of how it works, and we can act all surprised, like, clutch our pearls, like, did that really happen? Like, come on, man, y'all all doing it. Like, what are we fronting for? It's just when it gets exposed, or somebody else that's outsider leaks some information, they all know that it's going down. It's like, can we now put this in front of you guys, prove it, and now we can bring down the people that we dislike. But that's why we're doing it. It has nothing to do with the action itself. If they find it, they don't like it, they denounce it, that has nothing to do with it. It's more of a case of, well, they're doing it, so let's get on it.
Yeah. All right, back in a minute. You just need those little pesky things we call facts. That would be lovely to have. Before we get back into the conversation, we want to thank our sponsor, realestateagentsitrust.com. So if you are looking to buy or sell your home, especially if you are someone who maybe you live in one state and your work is relocating you to a completely different state, and you're like, I don't know where the nice family areas are. I don't want to live near I don't know, like people who do drugs and stuff. I mean, that it happens, right? You don't know. You don't know where to go. You don't know the real estate agents in the area to trust because there are only approximately 10 million real estate agents who are like, yeah, I dabble in real estate. I do it part-time. I can totally help you out. You don't want to do that. You want to go to realestateagentsitrust.com. This is Glenn's company that he and his wife and his brother founded because he moved around a lot and he realized a lot of the good real estate agents all did the same things. They had the same things in common. A lot of the bad real estate agents all also had the same things in common. All these people that they have all across the country, they do this full time. They are the experts in their areas. They will be the ones to get you and your family into the position that you would like to be in. They're also oftentimes viewers and listeners of the show, so they share your values. You can trust them. We've got someone where you are located. There's more than 1,200 across the country. You got to go to realestateagentsitrust.com. That is realestateagentsitrust.com. We did the vetting, so you don't have to. So let's talk Democratic presidential candidates. Bernie Sanders has now unveiled his wealth tax because we all know we need to penalize people for doing well in life. The very first thing we should do to someone for doing well and making a lot of money is to tell them that they shouldn't have that money. So it is very aggressive. It would heavily tax America's most wealthy families. Here is how it breaks down. People who are making $32 million to $50 million will have a 1% tax. And then it kind of gradually, those of you who are watching on television can see the gradual increase. It goes all the way to $1 billion to $2.5 billion, 5% tax, and then $5 billion to $10 billion, a 7% tax, above $10 billion, an 8% tax.
So this is on top of just regular, this is just a punishment. It's a penalty for being wealthy.
It's a penalty for being innovative and, creating jobs for other people and, things of that nature.
So that is in real, I mean, those are jobs,
Yes.
right? That you're saying we'll do better with the money rather than you employing people. We'll do better because we're very effective.
Yes.
Okay.
And so he did. I teased this at the beginning of the show. I said that he said, I don't think billionaires should exist. He really did say that. He doesn't think
what's funny
billionaires
about that?
should exist. He's a millionaire.
I was going to say, you know what's funny about that? He used to say millionaires and billionaires, but now he only says billionaires because he is.
Well, because we found out that he's a
So
millionaire.
now he can't use that line anymore. Now it's just billionaires.
Millionaires, fine. Billionaires, we got to draw the
So
line.
I said, let's make Bernie a billionaire so he'll leave us alone. Right?
That's a great point. Well, economists are already saying that the plan would cut in half the wealth of the typical billionaire after just 15 years. Eric, I know you're a libertarian, so I feel like I don't have to ask you what your thoughts are on this, but I would like to hear your thoughts anyway.
Let him loose.
Taxation is stiff, but no.
On a tee.
But yeah, like big shout out to Bernie, because if it weren't for him, certainly in the last election cycle, I think I always credit him for, like, as far as my political commentary and that growth, ragging on Bernie Sanders was what
Really?
took me, to the next level.
Oh,
I kid you not, meaning
gotta
Bernie
know it.
Sanders, it was awesome. So
So he's
big shout out
created
to
at
him.
least
He's
one job.
Yeah, thank you. He has created at least one job. But yes, that's where we're at. We're penalizing people. That's what taxation is, a discriminatory tax in this sense, in that he wants to punish people for making money. But the point that you made, and that's what's always hilarious when they talk about taxing, it effectively is punishing them. That's all it is. It's not like they are going to reallocate these resources to be efficient with it. That's oxymoronic when it comes to the government. They don't know how to do that. That's the point. Definitely, we're talking about federal government, $22 trillion some dollars in debt or deficit spending to the oblivion still to this day. Absolutely, they have no desire, no incentive to even, when they can, like that, continuously tax, as well as, monetizing their debt, utilizing the Federal Reserve in that regards. But the fact that they want to punish people, and now we're to the point that they don't even have to say, what are we going to do with it? I mean, it's just like, we just want to tax. That's what Bernie's. I don't like you guys. I think you make too much money. Therefore, give the money to the federal government.
They could bring in $1 trillion in new taxes, and they'd find a way to spend $1 trillion in one. Is the bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like it benefits society.
It's not a revenue problem.
Right.
It never has been. Revenues are at record highs, and so are deficits, because they keep spending more money no matter how much money comes in. Bernie just needs to have that little quiet voice in your head that
He
says,
doesn't have one of those.
is this any of my damn business? If the answer to that is no, stay out of it.
But that's what he's running on. I mean, that's what he's running on. That's what Elizabeth Warren is running on. That's what so many of them, I guess maybe practically all of them. I was going to leave out Joe Biden, but I don't think I can really.
Not anymore.
In that every single thing you make, every single thing you do is big government's business. And Jason, it leads me to the question of what would happen to American innovation if now we're penalizing people for profiting off of American innovation?
Well, we would survive, and I think even under the mix of socialism and capitalism that they want, because they know like full-blown socialism would be a disaster.
Do they know that?
They know.
They know that?
They know. They know. Even under that, we'd be fine, but we wouldn't be America. We wouldn't be the beacon of free enterprise that we are now, to where you can move from Guatemala and retire a millionaire. It's the only place in the world really you can do that. So that's what would go away. And not only that, it's like people like you, billionaires like Jeff Bezos, who make a lot of money, but if you break down what he does in charity and all these other things, no matter how much more you take from him, you're not going to do better than he does with his own money by hiring people, by doing charity. You might as well just light the money on fire. That's the bigger problem to me, is like...
That's all government is, peeing on it and lighting it on fire.
Lighting it
It's
on
really
fire.
all they do with the money. But no, like, they look at wealth, first of all, like it's this fixed pie. I mean, that's really how socialists look at it anyway. It's not, they don't look at it as an actual creation. They look at it like, well, because these people have so much, these other individuals have so less, and that's absolutely not the case. Never mind that some of the gripes that a lot of the Democrats parade around, like, hey, we're for you. Got regulatory bodies that are regulating people to death. They make it hard to enter businesses or enter into business in the first place. They never talk about that. They never try to alleviate that issue. It's always, well, look, y'all have all that money, let's take it. So they look at it like they're hoarding it. Like this is billionaires, they make money, they hoard it, they keep it, and they're just not doing it. Even if they did that, it'd be more positive than giving it to the government as far as what they do with it. But they don't look at it like, okay, they're spending this money to then try to make more money, thus creating jobs. So they don't look at it when they tax people in that regard. Like they
don't tell you that you can do it too.
Right, they don't tell you that, but they don't look at it like, look, dude, like, they don't just take the hit. They have to, they adjust. Nobody gets taxed and is like, well, I guess I was going to lose now 8% of my money. No, they adjust. And because they adjust, it goes all the way down, and it's other individuals that are going to be hurting out of jobs.
Yeah. Lathan, last word on this. Have we just completely lost sight of the American dream? Because isn't the American dream supposed to be, you can come here no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, you too can build yourself up to be rich someday?
Yeah, there's a significant portion of the population who have been taught from very early age that that is a myth. And they're taught that to try to sell this alternative to it, this sort of American-style socialism, where we just put another adjective in front of it, and that kind of pretties it up. No, this is democratic socialism. Well, socialism is the communism starter kit, okay? And the reason it has to be defeated here, once and for all, is because there's nowhere else to go. Everywhere else in the world has tried this, and it fails every time. Look at the people who are protesting in Hong Kong right now. They're waving which flag?
Our flag.
Ours. Which national anthem are they singing? Ours. Because they want what we have. And then just today, I see some American who's over there complaining to the protester, telling the protester that, now, is this really respectful?
I mean, is that not just the greatest example of American privilege you've ever heard? You guys don't even know what you're talking about. You live in this bubble.
You care about freedom more than you care about safety. And the answer should have been
yes, I do.
Yes, you finally get it.
All right, back in a minute. God. And I mean, who is she to say that to them? Coming up in overtime, we've still got more Democratic presidential candidates to discuss, namely Joe Biden, and whether or not he even really wants to be president. I'm still unclear on that. We've also got President Trump's response to junior climate change activist Greta Thunberg. He has responded on Twitter to her. We will get into, gentlemen, your thoughts on his response. I also had a little bit of a response my own on my YouTube channel, but you gotta go to Sarah Gonzalez Unfiltered on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. The exploitation just kills me of the children. Sarah Gonzalez, unfiltered, and you can go to Overtime. It's blazetv.com. We'll see you there.